This is your weekly trip to paradise, Louisiana style, with Gary Risponi and Don Dubuque. Paradise, Louisiana is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, Demco, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative, Pods, Moving and Storage, solved. Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change, Louisiana Fish Fry Products, and by CCA Louisiana and the CCA Louisiana Star Tournament.
Welcome this week, cold edition again. Paradise, Louisiana, and Don. A lot of things going on, and cold weather making a difference. Some things is helping, some things is not.
Exactly right. It's keeping some people from getting out at all, but on the other hand, I think it's helping the duck and the deer hunters, no doubt about it.
You know, the main thing is helping, and you've been talking about it on your show, and Highway 1 and then down in the lagoons and stuff off at Myrtle Grove. We got a good report. People fishing off the bank. They can bundle up. They got little heaters. They're going out and they catching fish, catching redfish and speckled trout both, deep holes. So that's one good thing the cold weather is doing. But the cold weather has been keeping me out of a boat. So, and it's really, I've been there the warm days and the fog. They messed up 2 hunts for me. In the warm days, I have to have it scheduled, and we're doing pretty good. We're killing half a limit or whatever, but it's not the same.
Also had a busy news week this week, too. Wildlife and Fisheries Commission meeting that was held a week ago really had a lot of things come out of that as far as season regulation changes. Also some changing with the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries in issuing hunting and fishing licenses. We'll talk all about that, and also some changes on the commission itself.
Yeah, we got some events coming up. Besides that, we got a real big banquet season coming up. So stay tuned for more. We got a lot of fish.
We got a special guest going to be with us.
That's what I'm saying, but that's what event that's coming up. Yeah? I think they call it Bullseye and Badger.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, Brett, safety and car insurance.
Never scored a safety. That's defense. But go on, please.
Yeah, defensive. That's exactly how you should drive.
There is no such thing as a defensive drive. Offense makes the drive.
Oh, I mean when you're on the road.
But it doesn't matter, home or away.
Okay, clearly I'm striking out here.
That's baseball.
Get great auto rates from Farm Bureau Insurance. Call your agent today.
Pause moving and storage.
We just sold our house.
Congratulations.
We have 2 weeks to move.
We'll deliver a few containers.
Our new home's not ready.
No problem. You can store things with us while you're between homes.
We might need help.
We'll refer trusted packers.
We'll be staying at my brother's.
Well, that sounds...
He has kids of his own.
Well...
5 of them.
Ma'am?
Help.
Trust us for local and long-distance moving and store at our storage centers. Pods, moving and storage, solved.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. David DeLucci. Well, we got to have you back. Tell us about this badges, bullseye and badges.
Bullseyes and badges. So it's right around the corner, actually. Qualifying ends on January 27th. The 3 qualifying locations are Bowie Outfitters, Spillway Sportsman, and Gotham Archery. You go down for a $25 donation, you get 5 shots at a dartboard target. We're going to take the top 30 qualifiers in the hunting division and the top 20 qualifiers in the competitive shooting division. And the finals are going to be at February 3rd at the Joint Shooting Range in Zachary, 999 West Irene Street. And it's going to be great. It's a 2-part event. The first part is for individuals to go and compete. The winner is going to get a bison cooler, a dozen arrows, dead ringer bow sling, Reinhardt target, and a chance to win a diamond archery bow. And the second part is going to be the law enforcement departments from all over the state are entering 3-man teams that are going to compete against each other. And the winner of that, we're going to send on a bow fishing trip. So it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of excitement brewing around it.
Tell me, who's going to sponsor that bow fishing trip? Who's the bow fishermen going to be taking y'all out?
Well, right now we have a couple companies that we've been talking to, but we haven't dialed it down with one just yet. But we have our eyes set on one. But if anybody's interested, it's for the law enforcement team. It's for a great cause, and we're open to anybody.
I think I can help on that. But another thing I was going to ask you, what's going to be out there for spectators? Just to cheer your team on, or did anything be going on? Anybody cooking? Anything going on that day?
We're going to have great food. There's going to be pastelaia has been donated by Casey's Grill, 200 plates of pastelaia. We've got another company coming in from New Orleans that's going to do a couchon delay. There'll be drinks as well, and then also there'll be some other activities, some other shooting events for prizes as well. And we're talking about if we can get enough chiefs, colonels, and sheriffs, we're going to have a shootout between all of the heads of the agencies are going to have a crossbow competition.
Well, that's great. And like I said, it's a good cause. Tell everybody about the capital area Law Enforcement Foundation.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable foundation. I'm a board member on it. It's also known as CALIF, but the purpose of the Capital Area Law Enforcement Foundation is to raise money to buy protective gear for law enforcement agencies across the state. As of right now, they've raised close to $1 million. And every week we get requests in from departments that are asking for protective gear. And from what I've heard, close to 96% of our law enforcement officers and deputies either don't wear protective gear or they have protective gear that is expired. The lifespan is usually about 7 years for a vest. So it doesn't take long before you have to update that or get another one. And you know, we feel like we want to protect our protectors. They are the difference between chaos in our town and feeling protected.
That's a shame that we have to supplement that because the budgets right now, a lot of people cutting budgets, the money's not there in the state and in local budgets. Everybody cutting. Oh, David, we're going to come through for them, I'm pretty sure. How's your hunting season going so far?
It's been great. It's been an odd hunting season. It really has. And the opportunity you had me on the show earlier this year, I'm after one big buck, and I've seen him. I've chased him with a bow and arrow. I've chased him with a rifle. The weather has been great. Right now, the rut is wide open. Well, it is wide open. So we got a big cold front coming through, and I'm going to try to get back out there.
Well, you know, you promised me to bring me some video about that. So, and you got to kill one. You got to get him before the camera.
I got to get him. We're running out of time. I mean, the season's coming to an end.
You do that, and you bring it on there, and we'll bring you more of the deer report and the hunting and fishing report coming up in Paradise, Louisiana. David, good luck.
Thanks for having me.
And
Thanks
the good Lord willing, I'll be there.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned for more Paradise, Louisiana. Voted Best of Louisiana Outdoors 3 years in a row.
Hi, I'm John Jackson, and you know we always say we gather our groceries out the bayou. Whether it's freshwater, saltwater, catfish, redfish, you have tons of choices when it comes to fish in Louisiana. But when I fry fish, there's only one choice, and that's Louisiana fish fry. My new favorite, the Cajun fish fry, has the perfect amount of cornmeal, corn flour, and the perfect mix of spices that really bring the heat. Hey, if you're craving Cajun, go look for the bright red bag at your local grocers. Bring home the taste of Louisiana with Louisiana Fish Fry.
For the thirsty, for those who hang out in packs, for heroes, for sidekicks, for those who see the glass half empty, for those who see it half full, for those on the right, for those on the left, for those with nicknames, for those with curves, for people that cycle, for people that recycle, for BFFs, for frenemies, for those with style, for lovers, for families, for big families, for everyone.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. A hunting report, Gary. At the moment, just about everything is still open, but that's going to be changing quickly. Some areas it's going to be closing down for deer hunting, and of course we got the coastal zone. Got about another week to hunt there for the ducks. Then it'll be geese and small game will continue, but hunting really had a shot in the arm this past week. You know, the ruts kicked in a lot of areas. We're seeing a lot of deer being taken, and also the duck hunting has been on the upswing because that cold, harsh weather up to our north is driving those migrating birds down. And most areas, I say most, are getting some good reports. On my lease this year, we have set records in St. Tammany Parish as far as the deer that we're taking and seeing during daylight hours. Latest was my youngest brother bagged a very nice 8-point. First time he had deer hunted in 15 years, first time he'd ever seen a deer in the woods, and first time he ever shot at a deer. And you can tell he wasn't real familiar with the gun, because if you look at the picture of his nose and his forehead, you'll see that he really didn't have the gun mounted where it should have been. But the deer got the worst of it. He wasn't seriously injured, but there's a tip there. If you got a novice hunter, make sure, and they get nervous when they're in a stand by themselves and they don't remember everything, so go over it with them again and again and tell them how to be safe.
Yeah, and also tell them, let them shoot before.
Sure. They're always good to zero the gun.
Don't bring a gun if that kid ain't shot it or whatever, because like you said, they don't mount. They hit them in the eye, they put it in their face. You know how to mount the gun. Don, I got a bunch of tips. Our Captain Buddy Jody Dunwall, he's been going through a little surgery like you did, so he ain't been fishing, and he ain't been able to hunt, but he's been going along.
Oh, I know the feeling, Jody. I know the deal.
He ain't no baby. He asked about you. Captain said, "What about Don? How's he gonna say? He ain't shooting yet, but he's there. He's in the woods.
On the rifle, I ain't really doing much with a shotgun yet.
Yeah, but Captain Jody's son, Brandon Dunwall, he sent him. He thought he was at the Alabama lease. His son is Alabama lease. His son sent him a picture and beautiful deer he killed, but it was in West Point, Mississippi, the other lease. He was in the stand 5 minutes that evening. He got in the stand 5 minutes and killed it. When he found it, it was dark already, but he was, you can see by the picture, it was beautiful. And Larry LeBlanc over there, we saw the picture of Larry with the deer, but the best shot I want to run it again. He was hunting in St. John Parish, was in that P-row. He had that deer in that P-row, and that body looked bigger than his. It was in that P-row. It's a better picture, so I want to show you that picture. Jordan Nycan, 16-year-old in Vicksburg, Mississippi, got a beautiful 9-point. Logan Samahall, 8 years old, Denham Springs, hunting with his dad, Granger, and his grandpa. The Sisters of March Madness. Ben, you didn't tell me your sister's name, but it's a beautiful picture, beautiful girl. Sister killed her deer over there, and he called it March Madness. Ethan Hebert, I think I showed him last year, but it's Highway 10 in Clinton. 7mm 08. That was the first gun I bought. I had a lever action I bought for my son. He's gunning it. Now my grandson, who's grown, would rather hunt with that 7mm 08. And Ethan, thanks to his grandpa, sent me that. Thank you, Mr. D'Antoni, for sending me that on the deer. Now, see, like you said, I thought I was going to fill that page up, but there's a lot of other deer. People have been selling me out here in room with the people killing does, camp meat and everything. They don't want to send a picture, but they say, hey, the red is on. They're seeing a bunch of big ones. And we're going to find out. I'm pretty sure we have some more for these years.
Well, you got the primitive weapon season kicks in after a lot of the rifle seasons shut down. So there's still time to get out with the bow or the single shot, and also the muzzle loaders.
Okay, you ready to go to some ducks?
Let's do ducks, yeah. Duck hunting, some good reports, in most places.
Well, what you got? I know you
well,
get them all over on the radio.
Darren Digby told me that they've been doing really good lately up there on that Highway 71 area, up around Bunkie and that area up in there. That was slow for a little while, but that picked up. Ryan Lambert, in fact, I'll be going down there to hunt this week. Ryan is doing really good on pintails, which is, primo bird down there. And they're getting their 1 pintail per person. By the way, next year it's going to 2.
Again,
yeah,
okay.
Not again. Well, yeah, it'll go back up like it used to be. And then he said there's also a mixture of canvasback, redheads, gray ducks, all the usual birds that they get down there. And he said not too many green-winged teals. And usually they get green-winged teal late in the season.
They had some preliminary seasons that came up. You can see it on the Wildlife Fishers website. Also, my best duck reports right now is coming from Arkansas. David Cavell, now he was up there hunting with the Halberts and the Halbert farms, Trip and Chuck. he sent me some pictures with all these names. There was too many of them to name all of them, but some of them boys were from Alabama. They were celebrating the national championship, and also they had a good mallet season. They had a great mallet hunt up there. They got some pictures that the snow hit them while they were there. Dave was all wrapped up. Y'all know David Cavell. They fishes all in tournaments. Tremendous Venice fisherman, and anywhere you want to go with it. So David Cavell, he was up there, and this is his annual hunt they make. So thank you for taking the time to send me those pictures. Dwayne Chapman, he sent me one of our representatives up there, always sending him up there in the north part of the state. He was hunting the Washita River bottoms in south of Monroe. Bunch of teal was showing up. They just passed it because they were in a break. They knew that the gadwalls would come in. Sure enough, the gadwalls come in. Beautiful picture. Limit by 745. So you can't beat that. Randy Young, our representative over there with Young's GMCs and all the people out there in Eunice area, they were hunting Kaplan. He got mixed bag of ducks and specks. He had his 2 specks. He's showing them off with pretty one. Thank you again, Randy. Randy also hunts Pecan Island, where one of our good friends, Todd Graves, but Pecan Island's been bad this year.
Hadn't been a real bright spot.
A lot of reports like that. And you were talking about Highway 71. Buckley, and I made, in a week, I made 2 hunts. I was there last Sunday, and we didn't shoot well. The birds were in and out. And we kill almost a limit, and Buckley always gonna kill his limit. But same thing, when I went there Wednesday with P.J. Damari, one of the guys in that club, and he likes to walk. He had some speckle bellies in the area. As soon as we got there, it was foggy. He looked around and he says, "Them birds ain't flying like they were, when we was here Sunday." I said, my luck, black cloud. So I had my grandson Micah there. He had his dog. He wound up getting his limit. Buckley and them they wound up with 30. No, I'm sorry. 5-man limit. They had 30. And another blind, took a long time to get it, but they worked it out. We didn't shoot any more poodoo. They had other poodoo in the area. So I got some video I took, but it's just a report. It wasn't enough to do a segment. Buckley sent me some more pictures. Saturday and Sunday were outstanding again. That cold front and all that bit. And Buckley and them do something real different. So if you got a place and you allow the farmers, if you want to plant what's good for everything, the wildlife and everything that's legal, right now that sweet sorghum and this taller wheat, they call it Egyptian wheat. I thought he was saying gypsy. I can't hear to it. I said, what kind of wheat? You got gypsum in it. He said, no, Egyptian, dummy. So it's a taller blend. It's better to hide in. The pods are bigger and fall in the water. It's a very good feed for duck.
Well, while we're on duck hunting, I saw some video of Bud Grant. Remember Bud Grant, coach for Minnesota Vikings?
Yes, I do.
He's 93 years old now, and he made a duck hunt up there before the championship game with the Saints in Minnesota. I remember when Minnesota played Kansas City, and they played in the Super Bowl here in Tulane Stadium, and it was in January. When he came down here for the Super Bowl, I saw him down in Venice. He was duck hunting down in Venice, Louisiana.
Yeah, he was.
You're talking about a serious duck hunter.
I guess he's really happy today because what happened at that championship game. Also, let me tell you what, in our way, where my brother and them hunt, in that area, my nephew, my brother, his daddy, Rod Reminut, Brock Revet, they had some pretty good hunts right there. They killed mallards, they killed pintails, they killed a bunch of teal. In fact, they had five pintail. They had some one mallard drake. Had some ringneck. A lot of people get confused and everybody say ringneck not a good duck. That's bull. Ringneck is good. It's hard to clean. It's in the same family with redheads and everything, but it's not like a scalp. You say you don't eat food with a scalp. A lot of people don't want food with a scalp. I got one guy said, no, you ain't gonna give me no scalp. Well, I clean everything. I clean everything I kill, and I eat everything I kill. So.
Well, they're kind of hard to identify. They look very much like a scarp. The head's a little different shape, and of course they got the ring around their neck, which a scarp doesn't have. But I'll give you another tip on identification. If you see the bird leaving the water, it's considered a diving duck, and diving ducks run. They get that run and start like they're on a runway to take off, and mallards and grays and teal jump straight up. Well, the ringneck jumps straight up even though it is a diving duck. It's the only one of the divers that does that. So if you see it jump up and you thought it might have been a scarp or a dogrie, it probably was a ringneck.
Yeah. On that hunt was 3 generations. My brother Johnny, his son Brandon, and his son, I think it's Aiden, but I forget his name. But Buckley Kessler again, and like I said, here we are. He's showing me those pictures doing. Gavin Corney, he was fishing in Datico and hunting. They're doing blasts and casts. Here's Gavin over there showing his beautiful duck right now that he killed. I guess he called it a bass and class. In a tree blind, my buddy named Bill over there in Mississippi. I'm talking about Wayne Amato and Dean Amato, almost like family, and Rick Capo. Rick, you know, he's a cancer survivor. Rick is over there, been making a hunt. He's been killing a bunch of big deer. I know he killed another big deer last week. I'm going to show y'all that picture. I think I got another picture. I think it's coming up. Rick, you living a life of riding right now and working hard. You healthy. That's the most important thing about it right now. And the Goose Guides Incorporated, Clint, had our friend Jay Thomas's daughter Jordan. And last
what kind
week
of camo was she wearing?
What do you think she was wearing?
I know what she was wearing.
Yeah, Coastal Performance.
You got it.
And that's my duck and hunting report.
All right. We'll be back with more right after this. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana from Superior Bait and Tackle in Baton Rouge.
Hey y'all, it's Sam Barbera. I'm with the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Foundation. The foundation is a nonprofit that raises funds and provides support for the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Department. We assist with numerous projects like black bear, whooping crane, bald eagle, as well as family, youth, and women's workshops. For all of the information on the foundation, visit lawff.org. We need your support to help our wildlife and fisheries. Visit lawff.org.
Ask me about my Tempur-Pedic.
Ask me how fast I fall asleep.
Why not talk to someone who's sleeping on the most highly recommended bed in America?
Ask me about staying asleep.
Tempur-Pedic owners are more satisfied than owners of any traditional mattress brand.
Ask me how it feels after 10 years.
Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America.
Ask about Tempur-Pedic at Olin's, where you know you always get the guaranteed low price. Olin's is the only store in Baton Rouge and Lafayette with the full line of Tempur-Pedics.
The best part about being a member of a Touchstone Energy Cooperative is that it's your Touchstone Energy Cooperative. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome to the H&H News segment, sponsored by H&H here at Superior Bait and Tackle in Baton Rouge. And Gary, we had a lot of news happen. First of all, we start with our Wildlife and Fisheries Commission. And if people are not familiar with the commission is kind of the liaison or the go-between the public and the actual state agency itself. And it's got representatives who take the job on a per diem basis. They don't get paid for it. They're appointed there by the governor. And generally they represent user groups or geographic areas in some cases, mostly user groups. And we had some appointments and an election of the new chairman. Bobby Samini, who was on the commission, is now the chairman. Vice chairman also had been there a while, is Al Sinceri. And then a guy that I know really well, Joe McPherson, who is the commission at large position.
He's also a former senator, so he knows how the legislative works.
No doubt about it. And he knows how conservation works because he's been involved with Louisiana Wildlife Federation for many, many years. So we welcome him into the commission. We also got some events coming up that the Woodcock, the Baycott chapter of the Rough Grouse Society and the American Woodcock Society is having
We do it
theirs at
every year. A
Pat's.
lot of prizes, a lot of
Good
fun,
food.
good food.
Yes, indeed.
Yep, and that's going to be at Pat's Fisherman's Wharf over there in Henderson. Get there early. Start at 5:30. They're going a lot of prizes, a lot of drawing. Way to pick up some beautiful prizes on silent auction and the regular auction.
Friday the 19th is the date on that
And
one.
if you want to know if you got any more questions with coming up this week, if you're watching the show on Wednesday or Thursday, call Sean Trahan, 337-654-4559.
All right, and we also have a change coming up in the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries sales of hunting and fishing licenses. They're going to a new system. There's going to be some advantages to it where you can print out your license anytime you want. You'll kind of have an account that you'll be able to access by way of the internet. That's a good thing. One of the downsides of it is it's going to have a little period going through this transition, and for January 30th and 31st, licenses will not be available for purchase during that time. Then from 31st, or actually February 1st till April.
Not even if you go to the Wildlife and Fisheries.
Just for those 2 days, but then
Yeah.
from February 1st till April 1st, I believe it is, you will be able to buy licenses on a limited basis. You can go to headquarters office in Baton Rouge and purchase it. You'll be able to purchase them online, but they will not be given out or sold at any of the retail locations. So if you need a license, the story is get it soon.
That's it. The crab fishermen, another thing coming from that. They got changing regulations, so you need to go to the website if you're a crabber, recreational or professional or what you
Yeah,
say,
they did
commercial
away with
crabber.
that moratorium that they had last
right,
year.
but you got a derelict crab trap closures in different locations. All the dates are on their website. You can see. That means if you got a crab trap out there, it's fair game to anybody that wants to pick them up, clean them up, see what happens. They also got to be tagged. You want to hit the tagging regulations. I got some crab traps. My tags ain't come out yet. But recreational tags, I think you can have up to 10. So you have to be tagged. They have to be the proper kind. They got to have the escape device and everything else. So crabbing is a big deal in Louisiana, and they're making some changes. Last year, there's some people complained about the closure wasn't at the right time, a small crab. They got new regulations out on female crabs too. So check them regulations. You crab, check out the new regulations in the website, Louisiana Wildlife Fisheries. One of the good news, the freezing weather is making a big dent in the giant Sylvania around the state, especially up there in the North Port, Bistano and them. It did that once before. But it's one damaging piece of grass, or whatever you want to call it, aquatic, because it is impossible to get rid of. We done tried beetles, we done tried everything, spraying. So this is one time, it's another thing we can thank the cold weather for. And Don, I did this other thing and remind you about bullseye and badges. Great thing going on, and see you Friday at the banquet.
All right, we'll be back with more right after this. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
Stay tuned for more Paradise, Louisiana. Voted Best of Louisiana Outdoors 3 years in a row.
Pause moving and storage.
We just sold our house.
Congratulations.
We have 2 weeks to move.
We'll deliver a few containers.
Our new home's not ready.
No problem. You can store things with us while you're between homes.
We might need help.
We'll refer trusted packers.
We'll be staying at my brother's.
Well, that sounds...
He has kids of his own.
Well...
5 of them.
Ma'am?
Help.
Trust us for local and long-distance moving and store at our storage centers. Pods, moving and storage, solved.
Today on Dockside TV, as you can see, we're bundled up. And we are not even daring to get on that Lake Pontchartrain today. We're coming to hide in the woods and catch some sockeye. Stay tuned for this episode of Dockside TV. Lake doesn't produce a lot of big ones. Oh, and I just missed him. Oh, the nicest one for the morning so far. Anyway, this lake doesn't really produce a lot of big ones. Some people say it's overpopulated. It could be a number of things. We don't catch any white crappie in here. Water's like that black water, like that root beer, clean water, really pretty water. And some of the biggest crappie I've ever caught are those white crappie that we catch in when we're sneaking our little plastic boats in there he is, in them little interstate ponds. Oh, when we're fishing up the West Pearl in that dirty water, we'll get it on some of them big white crappie. But in here, we catch a lot of them. We're just knocking the rust off. In here, we know we're gonna catch some in here. Decent little crappie there. We'll keep him for the frying pan. But here on Dockside TV, no matter what the elements are, like today would be miserable out on the lake trying to chase down specks and reds. But we can come back here in a secluded area, got some tall trees blocking the wind, and we always have some species of fish to fish for as we manufacture something for everything. And this is the Matrix Mini. Catching nice black crappie like this right here. And this is the fish that, you know, we catch a lot of these in here. Every once in a while we'll bump into a big bass fishing for these crappie in here. But like I said, we never see any white crappie in here. It's always these black crappie. But boy, do they taste great. Fish, man, that was a nice bite. This is a nice, one of our nicest ones of the day here. I'll tell you how I saw that fish hit it. And then when I say saw, you know, that some people are like, what do you mean you saw him hit it? I thought you feel him hit it. No, that's not always the case. Again, another good one on that ladies' night right there. Nice crappie. You can lip these fish. They don't have any teeth. They call them paper mouths. Look at that little mouth. When I say saw the fish bite it, as if you watch some of our previous Dockside TVs, no matter what species of fish we're fishing for, we are very adamant on watching your line. And what I mean by that is when you cast it out, I'm not simply just tight lining and keeping the tension tight and just feeling it with my hands, although, you know, I try to feel what I can, but I'm always watching the little bow or slack in my line. And what happened was on that fish, I popped it a few times and brought the lure up. And when the lure was falling down, I saw all my slack go straight. Like it went way too fast. And I knew the lure doesn't fall that fast. And what it was, I knew a fish grabbed it and went to swim off with it. And that's what we call line watching. And that's what I mean when I say I saw the bite. I didn't feel it at all because I had a big loop of slack in my line. I just saw the slack go tight and I knew it was a fish. And that's one of the biggest tips or techniques that I can give on jigging off the bottom for any species of fish, not just crappie. You know, people know when we're fishing speckled trout in that deep water, they know it's well known that it's a very hard technique. It's hard to do, but the secret to it is being able to watch your line. And that's why the braid, when we use braid for these crappie, we use a white braid. If we were using a green braid, it's gonna blend in with the water and I can't see it that good. So I can't see my bites. I can't see when the lure's hitting the bottom. But with this being white, it contrasts against the water so well to where I can visually see it very well. And then when putting the fluorocarbon leader on the end of it, you don't have to worry about the fish seeing it. Whenever we're fishing crappie in these man-made lakes like this that we do, we use a 1/8 ounce golden eye jig head here. Let me go ahead and put this little sucker in the well so we can fry these up tonight. But we don't use real light stuff in these deep lakes, as these lakes we're fishing them in 15 to 20 foot. And on the coldest of days in the winter and early spring, this is where we like to come, because we can find them grouped up in that deep water. We use the 1/8 ounce to get it down in that 15, 20 foot of water. And we like to use either some type of braided line when we do this, because it's really hard to feel the bite on these little panfish, these little crappie. And we're fishing so deep, you know, that makes it hard. But what we do on the end is we tie a uni knot, and we go from the braid to a 6-pound fluorocarbon. And the reason we do that is this water is pretty clean, especially for crappie fishing. And crappie are known for having really big eyeballs and very good eyesight. So it really helps to put that little piece of fluoro on the end if you're going to use braid. Now you could use complete fluoro if you wanted in here, where your whole reel's got fluoro, but this deep water, especially with a little breeze like this floating around, seems like to really give us a little bit of an advantage to have the braid. All we do is just float around and try to find little schools of them in this big vast lake right here. This deep water. Just slowly jig it off the bottom. All right, what I like to do a lot of times when I'm trying to locate the fish in the middle of this vast lake, this big lake, is I'll just simply put the wind in my face, and then I'll just cast out into the wind, trolling motor off. I might bump the trolling motor just to kind of steer the boat. But what I'm wanting the wind to do is just blow me down the lake. So I'll open my bail if I feel my slack getting too tight, and I'm just jigging off the bottom. It's almost like trolling, but instead of just putting a pole in a rod holder and just troll it around, I like to just simply bump it. One, it makes it more fun to actually feel the bite. And you know, you see some of these guys on television and read articles about those spider rigging technique where they'll have 6 or 8 long poles all around the bow of the boat. That's all they're doing, is just simply covering a lot of water with a lot of poles. Now, we don't do a lot of that. You know, I like to just fish with 1 pole. We're simply out here trying to catch a few and have some fun. But it's a very effective method of fishing. It would be very effective in these deep lakes like this. Little rascal here, we can go ahead and let this one go. But what we're using right now is obviously the Matrix Mini from matrixshed.com, and this is what we call the ladies' night. I like this color in here when we fish in these man-made lakes like this because the water's real clean and it just looks natural, like a natural minnow in here. And what we did with this lure is we simply took the Matrix Shad and just shrunk it down. All we did was take the exact dimensions of the original Matrix Shad and shrink it down. A lot of crappie baits we see on the market are tube baits or straight tails, and they work good too, but there's not too many paddle tail swim baits you see, and this lure really swims well, especially when it's falling to the bottom, especially when you have it on a big jig head like this. So when we jig it, or when we initially cast it out and that bait's falling to the bottom, on the whole way down, it's doing a swimming motion because of the gravity of that big jig head on there. And I mean, it is a very, very effective lure to fish in all situations, but especially in deep water crappie jigging. And we just like to jig it off the bottom. And I like to use, I'm a fan of these push buttons because I can palm the reel like this when I'm fishing this deep water. And then so when I jig it like this, pop, 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 and I reel in my slide and let it go to the bottom, I like to put my fingers on the line while it's falling. Because like I was saying before, 15 to 20 foot of water, and you're fishing for a 9 to a 13-inch fish, it's not much of a bite. So any little advantage, the more you can get your hand up on the reel to feel that little tick or that little bump, it's gonna help you out a lot. All right, our first little drift was a nice solid drift. We probably picked off 10 nice crappie on that one first pass. We're gonna idle around the lake here. This is how we can locate big schools of fish, and I can't stress the importance of electronics when crappie fishing, especially in deep water. Any crappie angler you talk to across the country, they're fishing deeper waters, not simply throwing up at the bank or structures you can visually see. When you're fishing in the middle, deep water stuff, we're looking for ledges, drop-offs, we're looking for underwater humps that could be some kind of underwater brush pile. We're looking for bait and fish on the bottom, and I'll just idle around this whole lake some days when I'm struggling to find big concentrations, and just simply use my depth finder for 30 minutes to an hour at a time until I see big piles of just something different than just an ordinary flat bottom. So we're gonna idle around for a little bit and see if we can stumble across something. Size we're looking for right there. Well, we just moved, so we talked about we were going to move around a little bit, look for some structures and stuff on the depth finder. Saw some bait or fish or whatever, just an abnormalness to the bottom. Came over, second cast, boom, nice slab right there. That's the size we're looking for. That's why you want to move around and use your electronics, because before we were catching like a lot of 8, 9, 10 inchers. This is a solid, probably 12-inch crappie right there. This is a real nice one for this area. Nice black crappie. See if we can get some more slabbers like this. Come here, old crappie. Old crappie. No matter the elements. Whoop. Here at Dockside TV, we're going to do our best to get out on the water and provide some tips on multiple species of fish to try to help all anglers put some in the boat. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dockside TV. And remember, no matter what the weather's doing, there's always something to catch. Until next time, good fishing. Make sure to stay up to date with all of our Dockside TV episodes. Simply hit the subscribe button right here on your YouTube channel. Stay up to date with all of the action going on around the surrounding areas as we catch multiple species of fish, from trout to bass to redfish, flounder, and even crappie. Make sure to hit the post notification button also, which will allow you to know when our next and freshest Dockside TV episodes are uploaded.
Aggressive, modern, and durable. The latest advancement in spinning has the Revo name on it, and almost a century of fishing expertise in it. No matter where your passion takes you, world-class fishing is only a Revo away.
Welcome to the shirt that Gary's wearing, sponsored Fishing Report. Who is that?
Abu Garcia.
ABU, Abu Garcia. All right.
That's it. Thank you.
And
Thank
Berkeley.
you, Joe. Yeah, this is good.
Where we
Good
starting?
one. We're going to
start
start regular
water
fishing.
Oh, we're going.
Yeah, I got some of the people fishing off the bank again. I was telling you. In the Motor Grove, if you've been to Motor Grove, and then they got the dock right there at that subdivision, and people lying all over there, also by the landing. Aiden and Allen had a beautiful, sent a bunch of pictures. They're fishing in that cold weather. They couldn't get to keep a redfish, but they caught a bunch of redfish and released. They were all under 16 inches, but the nice specks moved in. They caught sheephead, they caught a drum, and they caught a nice box of fish, and they sent it. Aiden, you keep in touch. He said he loves to watch the show, and I thank you. I need all them compliments right now, Aiden. Keep them coming. Hopedale Lagoon, another one. Kirk Menier is trolling a 1/8 jig and with a matrix shad. They're trolling down there in the deep water, and they catching them in the deep water. They're catching specks. You see a nice mess of specks and redfish. And in Delacroix, it's hot everywhere. People catching bass, people catching speckled trout. Hopedale, Delacroix, Gavin Coney sent me a picture. By the way, and on Highway 1, Michael Miller, they caught all them big trout in last week, fishing where Dwayne Romero used to always fish on Highway 1 and back between Leeville. And they just fishing off the side of the road and walking back on the Fouchon Road. They're going back to Fouchon, getting in there. They ain't private land, public land. They go in there, they ain't trespassing. They catching fish right now, especially the colder it is, the better it is. So bring something, keep warm, stay safe on Highway 1. So that's my report from that area. And I got some freshwater report, but I'm sure you got some
Well,
saltwater.
one last thing on saltwater. You know, if you saw any fish kills, report them. I tell you, we were very lucky. The whole eastern side of the state, I didn't get one dead fishing report. There was a rumor that some mullets were spotted down around Highway 1, and there was a pretty extensive redfish kill out in southwest Louisiana. But with those few exceptions, we got through it really nice, although we got some freezing weather this week. So, again, if you do see dying or dead fish, report it to Wildlife and Fisheries. They want to know the location, the species, the approximate numbers, and give them a contact number so they can call you back. Take pictures too if you can. That'll be a big help. And finally, remember, if you're picking up fish for home use, you got to abide by the size limits and the creel limits, and you have to have a license. Don't think because they're dead you can take as many as you want.
While we're still over there, you know, that Pontchartrain Basin is real good. While I mentioned Pontchartrain, Mr. Ronnie LaHosse in Delgado, he's going to be shutting down his landing. He got it up for sale, that place, but he's got some more land he's buying. He's going to try some RV parks. He says he tried to have tournaments and everything else, but somebody interested, you know, called Ronnie LaHosse and said it. My friends are still catching bass in the Cohagen Canal. They're catching bass in the Intercoastal Canal, off them canals off of there. Wherever there's grass, there's bass. The best bait is live shrimp. It's been hard to get live shrimp because they dying in, you know, which is cold weather. But, you know, they got all kind of shrimp. Let me tell you, H&H got the rattling shrimp. You got gulp. Then we got the same thing. They got the base, the voodoo shrimp. Anything got to do with shrimp. Sparkle beetle still unbelievable. Split tail, chartreuse sparkle beetle. Hottest thing in the Lafitte area right now. So that's as far as the saltwater. Freshwater, this is what I've been waiting to tell everybody. Here's a picture of Randy Daigle and Snapper Narcan. They've been catching big fish, but they caught these two bass back to back. They really had them on at the same time. They had a 5.7 and a 5.1 fishing plastic worms in Bayou Black, in the Bayou Black area. Here they are showing fish. Also in the Bayou Black area, Orange Grove area, David Duplantis sent me a box full of chinkerpin, lake runners, red ears, whatever you want to call them. You know, in Louisiana, we name fish, they give them a bunch of names. They were out looking for sac-a-lait in South Louisiana, white perch or whatever. They couldn't find the clear water, but they found some water. It was just right, and the water was moving. And they must have had a gravel bottom. Wherever they were, you know that's where those lake runners hanging out. They were fishing earthworms. They said the best catch they had this year. They filled that box up. The biggest one was 1.2 pounds. He showed a picture of it. They rigged about 3 foot under cork. They was down on the bottom, and that's where they were. So also got some sac-a-lait reports from Pearl River. If you see that thing with Chas, we hope we got some of that, but they catching sac-a-lait, and then my buddies, the Lamberts, they still catching a limit of bass. Every time they go out, they have to fight to catch a few trout. The weather's been cold, and I'm surprised. What kind of report did you get from your Pontchartrain group?
Basically,
Jello.
yeah, not a whole lot from the lake itself. People just didn't get out there and go. And I mean, I've crossed it a couple of times, and the water looked pretty calm. Conditions should have been right, but you know, when you don't see a mass of boats out there, you know it's not all that great.
If you ever want to know, you go to the website, because Chad Champagne, he's the hottest thing on the water right now in that area, and he gives out the report. You can bank on it. You can see in the pictures where he's fishing too. There ain't many people, ain't many guides that do that. So, thank you again, Chaz. That's it.
All right. One other thing on the sac-a-lait. You heard from my friend, the psychic?
No.
The crappie psychotic, we call him?
No, I don't know, but I had a report that came from the Zalmas.
Yeah, it should be on. That area should be on.
But I'm not enough to say definitely I'm getting a report, but I stopped over there at Outdoor Express, and them guys were saying, yeah, they're catching sac-a-lait. I'm sure we'll be getting it pretty soon. They watch the show all the time. But, you know, this is St. John Jackson's report. That's what he said. This is a cold time, cold weather. Best time to fish the sac-a-lait. I remember fishing with Mr. Salters. Me and Dirk, we was in the spillway. water was there, it was freezing. I'm talking about 27 degrees. Every little treetop, every little piece of grass he found off the bank, and then when it's real, real cold, they move up closer to the bank and you find some trees there and do it. Whether you're jig fishing or under a cork. Black and chartreuse has been the best color.
All right, go out there and get them. Ducks, deer, rabbits, fish, it's all fair game for you. And when you do, send us your photographs and your report. Remember, turn that cell phone camera in a horizontal position. Fits our screen much better. Send that to Gary at Paradise, Louisiana. And we'll see you again next week with another edition of Paradise, Louisiana.
Paradise, Louisiana is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Demco, your touchstone energy cooperative. Pods, moving and storage solved. Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company. Vinny's Car Wash and Oil Change. Louisiana Fish Fry Products. And by CCA Louisiana and the CCA Louisiana Star Tournament.